You are taking a live look there outside over in Butler, Pennsylvania, as we get to the latest here on the assassination attempt of former President Trump. The FBI now saying they believe the man who attempted to assassinate the former president acted alone. Federal investigators identified the shooter as Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old man from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Speaking with reporters, the FBI revealed the AR-style rifle used in that attack was legally purchased by the gunman's father. Now, the man killed at the rally has been identified as Corey Comparator, a former fire chief. Now, he used his own body to protect his family from gunfire. Two other men were hospitalized, we're told, with serious injuries, and we are waiting for an update on their conditions. The FBI says the motive remains unclear and that the attack is being investigated as, quote, an assassination attempt on former President Trump. I do want to talk more about all of this, so let's bring in Andrew Giuliani. He served as special assistant to former President Trump and ran for governor of New York. He is also, of course, the son of former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Of course, good being with you.
All right, so first off, I do want to ask you, as all of this was playing out on Saturday, you hear that the former president has been shot at, then he's been shot, and then you start to see that video circulate. What's going through your mind at that point?
I got to tell you, I was scheduled to actually be with President Trump on Sunday. We were planning to spend the day together, play golf together before he went to Milwaukee for the RNC. And I've known President Trump for over 25 years, had the honor, as you said, of working 4 years in the White House for him. But I just like, I think every American in those moments where I heard that he was shot, saw the video, and was just trying to get confirmation from anybody who was with him on the ground, he was okay. My heart was in my throat, and I went down on my knee. I prayed for him. And thank God that that bullet wasn't a millimeter to the right. Otherwise, we're having a very different conversation. And God rest the soul of Corey, as you mentioned before. What a hero for protecting his family. And we pray for those that are, fighting for their lives now in critical condition. But I was in prayer, just like I think so many Americans were in that moment, that God's plan was not to take President Trump away from us in that moment.
And I know that you mentioned that you were expecting to see him and spend the day with him on Sunday. So have you been able to see him, talk to him? Do you know how he's doing overall?
Yeah, I was at Bedminster yesterday. We talked briefly for a little bit. As you can imagine, he had a lot of people that he had to get back to. But I think more than anything yesterday, President Trump was able to spend the day with his family. I know the First Lady was there, as was Barron, Ivanka and Jared were there. I believe Don Jr. or Eric might have come as well. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that's exactly where he needed to be. I think about the way I felt in those moments, wondering whether or not the president was dead or alive after I found out that he was shot. And I can only imagine what his family was actually feeling. But in those moments that we talked, I have to tell you, there's nobody that can compartmentalize like Donald Trump. He was already on to the RNC. He thought about Corey and his family and how terrible it was for them. He was thinking about the family members, talking about the family members of those that are fighting for their lives. And he started talking also about his vice presidential pick and what that's going to look like and how that's going to play out, as that's going to be a major storyline here in the first couple days of the RNC convention. So he's already thinking about what he can do to save this constitutional republic on November 5th.
Do you have any insight as to who his VP pick is going to be? I know you can't tell us too much if you do, but any insight at all?
Well, all I'll say is I think it's probably going to be a dramatic reveal. And that can always change. I'm always on the edge of my seat as somebody who, gets to be on the inside of some of this stuff. But at times, I even am on the inside of my seat. There's nobody that understands kind of the drama of the unveiling moment, I think, better than Donald Trump. So I'm not even certain when the announcement is going to be made. It could be made today, could be made Tuesday, could be made Wednesday. I expect it Tuesday or Wednesday, but I know he's going to have everybody on the edge of their seat.
And I think we all kind of know the answer to this question, but do you think what happened on Saturday night there in Pennsylvania is going to slow Trump down when it comes to doing campaign events? Will he dial it back on the number of events that he's doing in various locations across the country?
I don't think so, but I think that's why it's so important to get answers from the Secret Service, from the FBI, from the Department of Homeland Security, and from Pennsylvania State Troopers and Butler local PD on this. And that's why it's so important that they testify in front of Congress as soon as possible. Frankly, I'm not so worried about the RNC convention. That's already a tier 1 level security event, just like the Super Bowl. So there's only so much more security that you could actually do for that. But I am thinking about, what does that next rally look like? I remember being involved in a lot of the planning of rallies, of national championship games, of other off-site events that the president would go to. And Secret Service would look a mile, mile and a half, even 2 miles out at high points. The fact that a shooter with a rifle got a tenth of a mile away, 148 yards, only a football field and a half away from the president, with that perspective, was a catastrophic failure of law enforcement. The law enforcement directly around President Trump that were by the stage did an incredible job. And the president actually went exactly through his training. When he found out, he got down, and Secret Service did an amazing job getting to him. But man, that was a catastrophic failure that happened for a shooter to get 400 feet away from it. And we need answers to make sure that President Trump can be protected. And frankly, Joe Biden and RFK Jr. and any other political candidate can be properly protected. And this doesn't happen to any political candidate here in the future.
And on that same note, do you think there will be a full-fledged investigation? It does sound as though House Speaker Mike Johnson has said that is going to happen.
Yeah, there better be. I mean, the American people deserve answers to this. And for the sake of the candidates, for the sake of those rally goers. I mean, think about the conversations that's going on in Corey's family right now, and the conversations at the hospital, those that are in critical condition in Pennsylvania right now. They deserve to be safe. We need to make sure that we get back to practicing our First Amendment rights in this country, where we're having heated debate and dialogue, not political violence. And part of that is making sure that these areas and these sites are secure. So there better be a thorough investigation. And I want honest answers from the Secret Service. I want honest answers from the Department of Homeland Security. I don't want to see the Fifth Amendment being used by these people trying to protect from, I think, what needs to be an honest conversation with the American people. Because if we can't actually get to the bottom of this, then a situation like this could easily happen again, and that's unacceptable.
As far as the situation that did happen there Saturday night over in Pennsylvania, what question or questions overall do you still have? Not necessarily about Secret Service, as of course we all have questions about that, but overall about what happened and why.
First and foremost, how did a shooter with a rifle get 400 feet from the leading candidate and former president of the United States? How did that happen? I've been on so many different site visits where we've looked at warehouses, at buildings that are a mile and a half, 2 miles away from where the president is going to be speaking. And I remember a few years ago talking to a member of the Secret Service that was worried about a building more than a mile and a half away. And I asked him, I said, how many people in the world can make that shot? And he said, on a calm day, there may be a half dozen. And even with that precaution, they put up a bulletproof glass there. So that way, just in case, the president would be safe on that. The fact that they got 400 feet away, and again, to give perspective to this, that's 125 meters. The longest shots made in history are 30 times that length, 3,800 meters. So this, for an experienced shooter, it was, I don't want to say it was a layup, but President Trump is extremely lucky to be alive right now. And the only way that I can explain him being alive is, I don't know, angels may have been at play on Saturday. So that's my biggest concern with regards to that. Also, local law enforcement was informed by rally goers. They saw them 2, 3, 4 minutes, this shooter, before he ever ended up ringing out a bell. Why was there no immediate reaction to that? And I know that they've said they're outside of the zone right there, of the protective zone. But one of the first things that Secret Service and law enforcement does once they set up that perimeter is they look at high points and they say, hey, we need to sterilize that high point right there. That was obviously never done. And we need to know if that was just something that somehow was grossly missed, or if it's something much worse than that.
Any other message that you want to get out to folks who are watching this right now as that investigation is playing out into this situation and Trump is over in Milwaukee for the RNC?
Demand answers from your Congress members, right? They are your closest representatives in Washington, D.C. I don't care if they're blue or they're red or they're independent, whatever it is. Every single member of Congress, from AOC to Marjorie Taylor Greene, should be asking for answers for what happened. Because, like I said, this is unacceptable. This is an attack on our First Amendment. And in order to protect our constitutional republic, we need to make sure that our public square is safe. That way we can have heated debate, but debate as well. And that to me is the greatest message I could send. That, and make sure you have a plan for November 5th. Get on out there. Get prepared to vote. If you don't like what's been happening over the last 3.5 years, if you don't like what happened there and all this, and if you see the indelible image of President Trump standing up saying, I want to walk off on my own, we're ready to fight for a constitutional republic, then make yourself a plan to get out there and to get your friends out there to go and vote on November 5th.
All right, Andrew Giuliani, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. Anything else you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
God bless America, and pray for the families of Corey's family and those victims as well that are fighting for their lives. You know, I can't imagine what they're going through and what that conversation is like. So God bless them, and God bless our country.
Andrew, thank you again for being here with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.